Take a look at your book here, The Last Original Idea, which quite interesting cover here. Let's talk a little bit about it.
The explanation to the cover is actually covered in the book's introduction, but it comes from an expression I used back in the 90s during a lot of keynotes and other conference addresses where I was talking about measurement on websites, website development, website marketing, where I kept saying there's no original ideas. The last original idea was Adam. Eve's already a better variation on the original theme. And that's the concept. So it is the birth of Eve from the biblical stories. And the book is essentially, it's a humorous look at the evolution of internet marketing back to the earliest references, which may be biblical, it may be other historical, 19th century, 18th century. So we actually understand how we got to where we are and the mistakes that were made along the way, so we don't repeat those mistakes, so we can succeed in our marketing efforts.
Okay, so the basis for that is basically where do we come from, and where has internet marketing evolved, in your opinion?
Well, internet marketing comes from traditional marketing. Traditional marketing comes from getting your message across, and we really started, if we want to talk social media, it started from when the first caveman grunted and showed how he used a rock to kill his prey. And we've been communicating since. In the days of Pompeii, they were doing banner ads on the sides of buildings. They may have been using to promote the brothels, but they had banner ads that were enticing people to come in and engage. And that is essentially how long ago marketing has existed, yet to many people who are graduating into marketing programs right now, people who've jumped onto the internet marketing bandwagon over the last 15 years, they tend to forget that that's where it came from. And they start thinking, this is new, we're going to have to come up with new ways of doing this. It's the tool is new, not the concepts. And we're talking social media and how we have to engage customers. It's something that was actually lost in the 90s and the early 2000s with the evolution of e-commerce. Companies liked it because it became impersonal. I didn't have to deal with angry customers. Unlike a retail store. Well, guess what? Humans want to express themselves. They want their voices to be heard. And now that social media has filled that void, which is nothing more than what the complaints department was at the old department store, except now when they complain, it's all their friends, all their peers. Here, before they used to complain to 1, 2, 3 people. Now they're complaining to the world, and it's documented for everyone to find. And that's how things have evolved.
Okay, so now it's 2011. We have tracking software. What are you seeing that's working, and where do you think we're going with it?
Conversion tracking we're redefining now really what the conversion is. Before, and when web first started, people didn't even think about conversion tracking, and I was talking about ROI and measurement, and so forth. And if it's lead generation, there's a value to a lead to a company, and that's part of what we need to know. But what is happening now is with all the social conversations that are transpiring online, that engagements that are offline from billboard advertising, TV advertising, banner ads, we're all now moving forward. How can we accurately measure it? So there's big movement now, what's called attribution. How many times do I have to see a banner ad and a search ad? So when I see that ad in Facebook, I clicked on Facebook and I now interact with the organization. What is a smile worth? What is a hug worth in social media? And how does that lead to conversion? And the hard part in that measurement is it's not what is my involvement in social media. And this is what we're trying to convey to people now. It's what's the cost of not being there. In the old days, before the big department stores, you went to the corner store where you interacted with the store owner, the stereotype of guys hanging around on the checkerboard, chatting around. Women went, stereotyping again to the beauty parlor to chat. Men did it at the barber shop to find out what was good, what was going on. That's what's transpiring online. So how do we measure that conversation? And there are tools that are out there now for reputation management, media monitoring tools to see the frequency that your brand is being mentioned, what your product is being mentioned, and then trying to correlate that to the uptick in sales or the downtick in sales. And that's really where a lot of people are now focusing in on different implementation methodologies. And we know from past years when we increased media spend on Google AdWords what the increase in sales were, so that we can extrapolate that this involvement has generated so much increase in sales potentially, and we set up some very complicated models for some vendors. In other cases, it depends on what their conversion point is. If their conversion point is purely we want to have more people aware of our product, it's a simple thing in Facebook of measuring, let's say, your fan counts, how many followers you have. But more importantly, setting them up where you do put links in there, making sure that whatever your analytics tool is, whether it's Omniture, Google Analytics, Web Trends, Core Metrics, that you put in tracking tools so that someone who does exit Facebook because they've become your fan and they decide it's time to engage you on your site by buying your product or your new features or upgrading, that you can know where it came from. And companies like WebTrends now are building tools to help measure the interaction on the Facebook pages so that you can establish some baselines for interaction beyond standard Facebook Insight data.
All right, Alan, thanks so much for your time and your information and for sharing your stories with us.
My pleasure.
I'm Vanessa Zamora. We're at PubCon Austin 2011. Thank you for joining.